Hi there. I did a brief little video on Instagram about this, but I wanted to talk about it more at length for any of the Americans that are out there. Our political situation has been pretty crazy for a while now, and I wanted to address all of the strife that's going on. It's great that people have such strong convictions and care so much, but it really doesn't matter what you stand for. You could stand for the most noble thing on the planet. If it is being used as a tool for divisiveness in any way, it is causing more harm than good. Period. Hands down. End of story. And you could hold tight to your righteous indignation and do whatever you want with it. But if you are not trying to, and excuse the term here, build bridges with it, and you are causing issues with people, and you are making incendiary statements on Facebook, and you are causing arguments with people at the dinner table, and all of these things, then you're not being part of the solution. What's happening energetically is people are harboring so much anger, and they are not doing anything productive with it other than just venting it. They're not coming together for solutions. They are just demonizing the other side. So what's happening is the mob mentality is happening en masse, and it's upping the issues in our country, and people are blaming one another, and it really is a cumulative effect. When you have energetically the kind of anger that the people in our country have, it really is no wonder that we have the kinds of domestic terrorism, the kinds of shootings and things like this that we have going on, because we have citizens that are frustrated on a level that they feel no release from. So instead of waiting for the government to fix your problems, why don't you join forces with someone who thinks differently than you do? Instead of pointing the finger at them and telling them that they're wrong, why don't you think to yourself, hey, why don't I talk to them instead of yelling at them? I will tell you that in my vast 4 decades on this planet, I don't have all the answers. Neither do you. None of us do. That's why we're here. To learn. And why don't you sit down with somebody and talk to them and see if you can come to some kind of conclusions? And why don't you and some people in your area try to come up with some ideas, some bipartisan ideas, to try to help the situation? Instead of it being a situation where you have the Democrats and the Republicans going like this at one another, why don't we use our ideas together? Because I'll tell you what, in very rare instances do the parties actually want things different from one another. Most of the time, on the level up here, most of the time the parties actually want the same thing. I mean, think about the recent instance with the Kavanaugh situation. Did either party want the woman to be, and I'm sorry, her name just went right out of my head. Did either party want her to be a victim of, sexual crime, or did either party want him to go free if he was actually guilty? Or did either party want any man who actually committed something that devious to be able to walk scot-free. No, the issue was the details, and that's usually what it winds up coming down to. So can we get on the same page, talk logically and with compassion, and think before we speak? Can we actually use logic and empathy instead of sheer raw emotion and self-righteous indignation and ego? Do we have to let that get in the way? Because that's what's really causing so many of the problems in our country. Because statistically, if you look at our country over the last 5 years or so, the crime rates and the terrorism rates have been going up and up and up and up year over year. It didn't matter who's in presidency. We could have had a duck running the country. It would have still been problematic because of the issues that have been going on in the country. You have to be, according to sociology right now, you either have to be for people of color or you have to be for police officers. God forbid you're for both. You either have to be for women's rights or you have to be for men getting a fair deal. You can't be for both. You either have to be, pick a side. There's never somewhere in between, and it's so illogical. It's just so absolutely bizarre. I don't understand why people can't just sit down, put their egos and their lofty, crusades on hold and say, you know what? We're all humans here. We all live in the same country and we all want this country to be great. We all want things to be peaceful and we all want this country to be strong and we all want to live in a place where people are safe. So let's sit down and talk about it. I don't know why that should be an issue. So put your ego aside and start talking. Let's see if we can come up with some bipartisan ideas and stop pointing the finger at other people and telling them that they're bad. Just my 2 cents. Maybe then, if we do that, we can also stop some of our en masse macro anger management issues, as I like to call them, like the shootings and all of the problems that our citizens seem to have over the last decade or so. Anyway, I wish you a wonderful evening, and I hope this made you think a little bit. And I hope that we can come to some conclusions as a country to make things safer. And take care. Bye.